Good day all. Welcome to another staring at my computer screen video. And today I'm actually going to address an issue that I've actually known about for a while, but just haven't decided what I was going to do about it yet. In case you've seen some of my older videos, specifically probably about half of what was uploaded between 2011 and 2012, and some from 2009, there is, well, I'll play this video and you can tell me what you think the problem is. So I'll just turn this up.
Good day. Guess you can probably kind of see me there in the reflection.
Notice something?
But anyways,
So this is from March 18th, 2012. Let's just take a look at another one. So this is probably one of the oldest that it shows up on. December 15th, 2009, Star Trek, the original series, Season 3 on Blu-ray. You may notice something that it has in common with the previous video. Yeah. Long story short, and I've narrowed down what the problem is, and well, I can give you a few other examples, and this kind of goes to prove my evidence here. Going back to a very early video, this is January 13th, 2009. For the longest time, this was actually the highest viewed video on this channel. Windows 7 on my, this was the Windows 7 beta on my Toshiba Satellite A100. Actually, eventually got up to 33,000 views.
I didn't think I would end up doing with another beta.
It's old video.
System. I was
you may notice
so impressed with the
there's no issue there. And actually, before I go into this one, just give you an example. Recent videos that have been uploaded. This is the most recent video that's actually up on this channel at the time of filming this video, Doctor Who Series 4 Revisited. And then there's this, which is the most recent video that this issue shows up on. So in case, I'm sure you've guessed, yeah, there is some kind of issue with the audio. And what is really irritating, and I know this may not be the case, some of these videos it may potentially have been there from the beginning, but some of these I know pretty much for a fact. That noise was not up there when they were originally downloaded. Specifically, one that I can think of is
Windows 7.
or not that one. It was the Windows 8, because I had a discussion going on this for a while. I also check videos before they go up, and the first notice that I have that there was an issue about 6 months ago, there's a problem with the sound, but I discovered this about 2 years ago. But I'm fully willing to admit that some of these may have been there from the beginning. What I always do is I check videos after I upload them. But if anyone remembers back in the day, it used to take forever for YouTube videos to process, and they'd actually be available online while they were still processing, and they look like hell. But they didn't have that sound. But there's one here in particular that I was actually just using as an example, just to where is it? So yeah, this is my list of videos right here. So sorry if I'm giving anyone dizziness here. So we're going back to be around late 2011. Here we go. This is a video that I've actually shown to people over the years, mainly involving Lexi. And I didn't notice the sound on this. This is from August 2011. I didn't notice the sound on this until I was actually doing an audit of videos on my channel to see where this shows up on. And yeah, suddenly it's there now. For at least 6 months, that was not there. The only thing I can guess as to what happened on YouTube is at some point during one of the upgrades, something happened with the audio. Now, when I go back to my videos and what I've used to edit them, shoot them with, and so forth, it's obviously changed over the years because things have been, you know, I've been uploading for years in the original camera, which is my, actually I can show you. I think I did a video on this at some point, but I'm just going to put this up here on its tripod and hopefully it doesn't fall off. Right now I'm actually using a just a Canon digital camera. I unboxed a while ago, but for years most of what showed up, at least anything I'm showing right here that I did at my desk or anything like that, was the my Canon ZR-900, and then I also had an older Canon, it was the ZR-8, what was it, 830, I think it was the 830, which I used for videos, but it wasn't a problem with that because the videos are fine, and I've been converting a lot of things over to or digitally converting them before my last computer with a working FireWire thing is still working. But I retired that camera from active use several years ago now. Actually, the last thing that I used it for was my Doctor Who DVD collection overview. By that point, I wasn't actually using many DV tapes. I was just capturing them to the computer. But in terms of what I've been using to edit them, and it's when I look at the videos that have no problem, and knowing what I was using at the time also gave me a clue as to where the problem is coming from. So here we've got from 2008, 2009. So here they were pretty much all shot with the ZR-900 back then. It wasn't until later that year that I picked up the second one just for home video use. And at the time, I was using, it was actually just the Roxio editing program that came on my computer for capturing, and then anything that I needed to edit, I do in Windows Movie Maker for editing. And then I don't even remember what the program was, but there was some kind of third-party option that I was using to kind of convert it. If you remember, at one point there were only a few video codecs that you could actually use on YouTube, and I'd use it was just an open source program. And back then YouTube wasn't high definition, and they'd usually come off looking like this. This is from August 2011. This was actually back when I had this theme going. And yeah, so the video itself, the ratio was off. They were kind of jerky. Like, the quality's never been great because I've never actually had professional equipment for this channel. But for the first year and a half or so, I was just using that. Then in late 2009, I wanted to get into more editing. This was also when YouTube started supporting high definition, which I don't know if I ever encoded this. No, this was just 480. But even though they were standard definition for a while, I was encoding them in HD. I wanted to get better quality. And even though using the same camera, if we just add that, it's hard to tell just on the through the camera right here, but the quality was a little bit better than what I had before. But there had been one change at this point with what I was using to edit them. I decided to give up on Windows Movie Maker and instead started using the program that I used for years, except for a few brief periods, which will further prove that whatever codec they were using was the issue. So here we've got Roxio Creator 2010. And over the years, there are actually a few different codecs that I use, but for standard def, it was usually just MPEG. And I can't remember what HD codec I was using at the time. I think it was just their default. But the program shows up on videos that were encoded using both codecs, and a few others that I experimented with. But this is definitely where the problem comes from. And further evidence to prove that is, so for the rest of 2009, I was using that, but at the end of 2009, my it was an HP Media Center computer that I was using died, and I eventually got the HP Pavilion that's kind of sitting behind that monitor, is kind of my secondary. So I got that, and that computer had problems from the beginning and was out of commission. So in early 2010, I actually just started editing videos on my MacBook exclusively. So bypass the program together, bypass just the PC. That MacBook had a FireWire port, so I would just edit. And if we look at anything from that period, let's just at random. This is my rant, Lord of the Rings. It was a video, but I spent half the video complaining about. Oh, I should probably turn the volume back on.
Lord of the Rings trilogy on Blu-ray.
But I spent half the video. Oh yeah, and here's remember this. This is the second version. Actually, any version of the DVD and technology files that has this theme was edited using the MacBook, because I never actually had this version. on my PC. And actually, you know, that's the reason why I changed it when the computer died. I just decided to change the theme because I had this track which I'd recorded myself on the MacBook. So I just put something together just to mix things up a little bit. And apparently I'm advertising Mockingjay today. Go figure. But yeah, so at this point, you know, all this was done on my Mac, and we'll just close that off. And don't click on your own ads if you're a partner, that's bad. But the quality actually for these was, like I said, there's still some jerkiness.
Anyways, here we go.
And part of the problem is if you look at the original files, they're still clearer than this, but that actually wasn't the Mac. That was part of the processing that YouTube was using at the time, which did drop the quality, especially on standard depth videos. Now the video quality is pretty much identical as to how you originally upload it. But back then, yeah, you still had to go through the encoding process, and there was all, with whatever YouTube did to compress the videos at the time, there was always some quality loss. But it looked a hell of a lot better than anything I was doing on my PC. So I go back, so this is everything from 2010. 2011, early 2011, I go back to using the PC. It had long since been fixed, and I started having some issues with the Mac, so I stopped using that for editing videos. And then here it's kind of sporadic, but here we're definitely into 2011, so it's kind of sporadic as to which videos are affected and which are not. I think this one has the issue. Yes, this is my, just a view of my video, my first camcorder from May 2011. This definitely has it. But some videos which were actually encoded using the same process and the same program, like this was actually one of the hottest days in years. This is Lexi suffering from the heat. This is just from a few months later in July 2011. Encoded using the same thing, but the problem hasn't shown up on this video. So it is sporadic. It's almost 50-50 as to which videos that the problem shows up on. And then there were some which, you know, this was just a thunderstorm that was going through, and we're going to be subjected to another ad here. So I'll just skip that. This was from August 2011. This was actually just uploaded directly from, it's actually a Palm cell phone, if I remember correctly, so the quality's hell, but it was just a direct upload, so obviously there aren't any issues there. But anyway, so, yeah, so 2011, 2012, and it is, like I said, sporadic. Some they're on, some they're not. And then and if you notice, because there was kind of stuff going on in my life at the time, I didn't actually, comparatively to how I normally post, I wasn't posting a lot in 2011, 2012. And I actually disappeared for a while. I came back doing this on a regular basis almost 2 years ago in 2013. And by this point, this is just, I'll pull up a video here at random. And this is showing off some of my camcorders. And this one I'm actually, I can't remember what I was using for that. It was one of the Canons. I kind of alternated for this one, but I'm still using the Canon plugged directly to the computer. I'm still using Roxio, but by this point I wasn't really editing. I had dropped the theme, dropped editing, and a lot of what I've done since then has just pretty much been direct upload with just the occasional edit. But by that point in Roxio, it hasn't been really a problem with most of the conversions, except the one thing that is my ultimate proof that there was an issue with that is this video from April 2013. This is driving through Detroit, probably not the nicest of places to visit, from 2 years before. Now, the reason, and well, we'll just show this for a second and you might hear something familiar. Yeah, so we've got the issue right there. And the reason why this one is kind of unique from the other ones is this was actually, at the time I'd rebuilt my old HP Media Center. It's been retired again since then. I did a video about it. But I had some home videos sitting on there, and one of them was this, which had been uploaded, or had been ripped, or I can't even talk anymore, which I had captured to that computer actually probably a couple years before, and I was just going through looking for interesting things to upload, and I had this. That computer still had the Roxio program on it, In this one, there's some stuff that I wanted to edit out. So I edited the video, encoded it, using the same, would have been the MPEG codec, and I would not have, yeah, by this point I just gave up doing standard def in high definition, especially after YouTube's own encoding got better. And this was actually the first time I noticed it. I noticed it as soon as I put it up, and if you look here on the original description, sorry for the clicking noise, it was not there on the original file. But another thing that I've noticed that's a little odd, well, not really odd, but just kind of demonstrates that there was something wrong or just something quirky that Roxio was doing with this audio codec. So this is on, this is one of the internal, or this is off one of my internal hard drives. These are actually my original YouTube files. You can see right here, we're looking at 2012. These have been transferred from an external hard drive, which had been transferred from the original computer. And obviously I can only play them in VLC Player because Windows 8 natively no longer supports MPEG, or well, the DVD codec at all. You can get the audio if it's encoded properly. And actually, had I known that, I never would have encoded these in MPEG. I did that with the raw video rather than AVI just because it saved space on my computer. But here's one of them. So this is... And actually, see if I can find this. So, actually, I'll show you two examples here. So this is Windows 8 on my Toshiba. This is the original edited file, the one that I was showing earlier that ended up on YouTube if it actually wants to start, and the file just caused the program to crash. Okay, so here we go. So this is the original file that was uploaded. At the time, I would have checked it, and the sound would have been fine because I checked these things before I upload them. But now, if you play the file, I guess it's kind of hard to see with that, but... And the volume is on. Volume's up on the computer. There is no sound whatsoever. So this was the edited file that was encoded using Roxio, and by this point, it just would have been standard def MPEG. If I go here, so this, now what I did with the Windows 8, there are actually a few different videos that were put together, but this is actually the original file where I just captured a bunch of stuff at the same time. So this is the original capture file, so this was captured MPEG. Here, this is just the launch one. Here I'm just demonstrating it. I think at this point, this is the beta test, but this one's screwed up as well. But you'll notice here that the sound's fine, so it had something to do with the encoding process. Obviously, because everything that I've used since then, and everything that I put up the year that I was using the MacBook, and everything that I did before that when I was using just Windows Media Player are fine. But there's still, I think, somewhere in the area of maybe around 30 to 40 videos on my channel that are, for lack of a better term, completely fucked up and have been for years. And what pisses me off is some of the videos that this problem exists on, or at some point the problem developed, are, you know, things that I'd like to have on my channel, like, you know, Star Trek Season 3. But if you look at some of the stuff from 2012, 2011 and 2012, if we go up here, you know, these videos have actually done well, like the Windows 8 on my Toshiba Satellite A100 has close to 12,000 views, or 11,500 views. All of those are messed up. A lot of my DVD updates, I think, like The Prisoners, messed up. Most of my Doctor Who updates, oddly enough, seem fine. I think Paranormal Activity is fine. Some of my Blu-ray updates, and like, it's very random as to what's screwed up. Like my Doctor Who collection overview is fine. I think my own music files are fine because those were uploaded using something else. And my 2011 DVD series overview, which I never actually finished, but I think it's actually on these. I'm pretty sure this was on my list. So here, yeah, we're seeing an ad for a car. We'll just skip that. And yeah, so it's on there too. And this video's actually been going on for 20 minutes. This may end up being one of the longer videos on this channel. But the question is, what am I going to do with these? Especially as some of these, the original mini DV tapes, which they were recorded on originally, have been put in storage, and a few of them may actually be missing. And oddly enough, I have almost my entire kind of archival history on this, except for periods of 2011 and 2012, which may be somewhere, because I've moved twice in the past year and will be moving again shortly. But yeah, the original files or the original tapes are not there, so all I actually have is this archival stuff. And in terms of editing it, well, because these days I'm actually just using Windows Movie Maker right now because I'm broke, and because I'm not doing a whole lot of editing on videos, they're fine. So obviously there are issues with the original files. I don't think I'm going to bother uploading those again, but I do have the original captured content. And typically what I would do back then is they're the video without the theme music that I was using at the time. And as a result of that, what you're going to be seeing on this channel in the near future, and I may actually make a separate video explaining this, just because I'm sure a lot of... You know what? Actually, I'm going to do a separate video, or I'm going to split this off, and I'm going to make the next video separate, just in case people are wondering why archival stuff starts popping up on my channel. So yeah, so wait for the second video. Hopefully it'll be up shortly after this one, or at least the next day. So yeah, stay tuned.